What's going on, everybody? It's Dan French. It's a Saturday. Ver, what's up, buddy? Thanks for waiting in the waiting room. We know what time it is. It's the French workbench time, baby.
It's time to get ill.
I'm your host, Dan French, here streaming live from Las Vegas. We got a full show for you guys today, and a really good show, I think. We got a lot of good information. We're going to talk about millennials and baby boomers, how they correlate. And also, we're going to talk about housing market statistics. And we're going to talk to Mr. Douglas over here. He's from Las Vegas Inspections. He's in here. He's going to talk about soils. He's going to talk about infrastructure. He's going to talk about how to start a custom home, I guess. I don't know. And if you guys have not subscribed, please, if you're watching the video, if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. Also hit that like button.
We're in the purchase sequence of whether it be for places like Kobe Homes, Richmond American, or commercial. Where in the process does this fall? Because I'm assuming that someone who's going to put up an Amazon warehouse, that basically getting these soil samples and doing the drilling and figuring out what the initial costs are going to be is maybe prior to or part of the offer process. When does this happen? I mean, you go out and you spend $10 million on a lot, and then you figure you're going to spend I'm making up figures here. You're going to spend another $5 million on the foundation, but you find out the soil's crap and it's going to cost you 5 times as much. So where do you fall in the process?
That's probably done ahead of time.
Yeah, but where is it? I mean, how does that happen?
Actually, we that will fall into after the purchase.
Really?
Yes.
So they're
they're
freaking rolling the dice.
Yeah, they're rolling the dice, and that's where the engineering part of it. Well, that's where the geotech engineers come in to do the economic efficiency.
I'm assuming that's probably not so much of an issue in like Summerlin because it's all owned by Howard Hughes Corporation.
Yeah,
like that whole land is, right?
So if you take this valley, you look at this valley as a big dry lake.
Sure.
Down,
Yep.
Right. Geologically speaking. You're going to have in the bottom of the lake bed, you're going to have all the silt, the clay, all the crap, right?
Yep.
So that's going to require probably more engineering than, like, say, if you go up into Summerlin,
or your higher elevation and stuff, because you're not. I got you.
Yeah. You go up
that makes sense.
Anthem, and you're going to have boulders, cobbles, gravels, that kind of stuff versus silt, sands, and clays. You know, and And actually, the when you're looking at the strip, you're only in some cases you're only 5 feet to water, and you're pumping. You know, like
wow, that's amazing. So the strip is only 5 feet down for water.
There's some cases,
That's why that casino at the end of the strip started tilting after they built it.
Yeah, it had an aquifer. They were built on an aquifer.
Yeah.
Which one?
Mandalay.
Yeah,
Mandalay Bay was built on an aquifer.
Yeah, right after they built it, it started doing one of these.
So how would they fix that?
It was in the ENR, the Engineering News Report. It's a magazine or a periodical that comes out, and basically the county actually required them to go in and do a bunch of micropiles. So they had to go very deep. I don't know how deep.
What's a micropile?
You have a really small concrete column that you're putting in the ground to create friction.
Okay.
And you attach it to the foundation of the building. So you're going to be maybe 2 foot in diameter or whatever. And from what I understand is they drilled a bunch of micropiles and kept that thing from dropping any more than it did. So yeah, it's the surface, like the Link project, for example, that I was involved in. We hit water at I think it was 8 feet or something along those lines, and we had to keep pumping it to put the foundation in. I mean, it was a 12.
So how long does it take to pump that out?
Continuously? Yeah, I mean, it was continuously.
So you get to a certain point where you can case in the foundation, so no more water's ever going to get in there.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Right? Would you be able to tap into that? So we all know we got a water shortage. What if the hotels started to tap into that underneath?
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Right?
Why are you
He doesn't want to
smirking?
answer that question.
Why are you smirking? Is the answer too easy, or is it just political?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
'cause,
how much water is
like, I
under
mean,
the
shit,
strip,
man,
though?
8 feet down? Are you kidding me?
I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Is there a lot?
We're all bitching about Lake Mead and running out of water, and we've got 8 feet down on the strip.
Yeah. We got,
This is brand new information.
I know.
Man.
So what do they do with that situation? I mean, obviously,
They basically they're pumping it out back in. Well, I guess back into the lake eventually. Essentially, it goes.
It's going straight to the bars.
wow.
Yeah. So it was.
So let's talk about new homes, all right? Because everybody knows that this is financing real estate. By the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed, we want to earn your business. We want to work with you. We're all here on a Saturday to help you guys out, but we want to earn your business. Hit the like button. Also, subscribe if you haven't. We need subscribers. We want people to watch and tune in, get our information, right? But let's talk about housing, because that's one of the topics we really talk about on the show. Talk about real estate. With your situation, right? Soils, getting the prep on the home, getting all the permits put in place. How does that process take place? Let's say if you got a builder that comes in and says, this is where we want to start building. This is our land right here. How does that whole process start working out for some of these builders?
Well, we were involved when I was in the consulting industry. We were involved in a few different projects. We did some Pulte projects. We did Avanti projects. And basically what these builders would do is they would hire a consulting company to come out, do the soils work. And then, we put the bid in to do kind of the post-tension slabs, any kind of masonry stuff that needed to be looked at by third party for county or for city work. So we were working with the builders to do all their inspections. So what they would do is they would come in, do the drilling. We would drill the site and figure out 20, 40 feet deep, and then figure out what it is, and then our geotech engineers would come in and they do the design. They say, okay, well, the soils look like this and they act like this, so we're going to need to over excavate like say 2 feet of soils in this area, or maybe 4 feet of soils, whatever the case may be. And then they bring engineered fill back in, which in a lot of cases would have to be tested. Like I had a lab that we would do testing on the soils to make sure that it met all the criteria for structural.
Sure.
Yeah.
So engineered soil.
Yeah.
Where is this coming from?
It comes from everywhere. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to find some of these pits have soils that are better in some areas. You have soils that have high clay content. You don't want to use that.
So is this big business? In other words, are there big companies out there that engineer soil just for all the building that's going on?
No, it's not engineering the soil necessarily.
It's just what type of soil is going to be needed to complete that project for stability and stuff like that, right? So
Yes.
like fertilizer, right?
So
So there's different kinds of soil
mixing
you
it.
can use, but you can use special soil for planting. You can use a special soil for like that, but
right, or
on a bigger
golf
scale.
courses.
A
for
golf
example,
courses, correct?
Full
Yep.
is like different. So you go and you take the pits, the gravel pits would actually crush soils to meet the criteria.
Okay.
It's just like for cement.
Yeah.
Okay.
For like concrete and stuff like that, So so we would find a source, so to speak, and then we'd take it to the lab and we'd test it. We say, okay, well, it meets the criteria. It doesn't. It's low in sulfates, which this valley is high in sulfates, and it's actually a corrosive type.
So all these elements add into play of what can corrode the
Correct.
soil and how quick and slow and all that.
corrode the concrete.
So it's scientifically you're seeing what elements are
in the
you need to
soils that you're
apply to.
Right,
Huh.
right, yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. And then
Interesting.
the pits that they have that we'll test the pits because they'll have like a gravel material that you can use. It's called type 2 material. But they'll have gravel that they use, and that gravel has to meet the criteria that the county sets forth in the standards that they use to put in either under roads or under buildings or whatever, you know.
Yeah. So you look at these new homes and you're saying, well, you know, all these things that goes on. How many times do you see that they're building a new home and then maybe they didn't do the legwork up front, the scientific part of it, knowing the soil, and then now there's a foundation problem on these homes? I mean, does this happen a lot?
You know what? Maybe 20, 30 years ago, but today I don't really see it happening.
You don't see it happening? Because I've heard some people that say, you know, they bought a new home and then all of a sudden some things are shifting.
That was during the last housing boom, though. That was like 03, 04, yeah.
But what is the shifting? Is it obviously
settling?
It's settling.
Settling, yeah.
What is like? Is there a percentage of how much a home should shift?
Settle.
Settle.
Yeah, we'll go with settling.
They just eye it up.
Just
get the pump out.
That looks a little more. Yeah, it looks good.
Hey, we got it down to here.
We're called good enough soil. No.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, man.
They look at like a 5% settlement on any kind of structure. You want some kind of settlement going in there, and you want it all to settle together. So you don't want what you don't want is it the soil's so tight that there is no settlement in, because you could have what they call differential settlement at that point.
Sure.
It doesn't settle at the same
So
rate.
it's not settling naturally, it's forcing itself.
Right.
Which is not going to be the same as
Do they allow for more settlement on properties where the ground has been built up? So as an example, my house and up in the lakes, we're at the end of a cul-de-sac, and I literally sit like 8 feet, 10 feet above the street on the back level because of the way they graded it. And when my house settled, it settled like 4 inches. And,
that's quite a bit. Yeah.
Fortunately, yeah.
Right away, you're like,
but fortunately, it all went at the same time, so everything remained flat. But you know, there's a couple of very hairline cracks. So I mean, it did well.
Yeah, that's and the one thing that they do as well with these newer homes now, starting in the 90s. I know we came in the 90s, and that was where I started the construction with here. And one thing that they do is they put post-tension cables in the slabs, and that's huge. They proved it in areas that had 50% swell in their soils, and back in the Midwest, and it did well. I mean, it's basically like a piece of paper, and you put reinforcing through the piece of paper. It's not going to settle out different. Like those cables are going to keep that slab together, even though concrete gets hard and it cracks. Yeah. It's still going to kind of move together because the cables that are tensioned at like 33,000
It's like if you see
PSI.
anybody who puts a new tree in their yard and it's a smaller tree and they got the ropes from the sides coming up to it.
Yeah, it's
just
kinda,
like that, right?
Kind of something like that.
All right.
Yeah, because they're stress. If you can picture it, they're taking these cables through the slab.
Okay.
And then they take and tension those cables to 33,000 PSI. So then it's pulling that slab together.
Okay.
And then if it does crack, it's gonna crack, and those cables are actually your structural support.
I got you.